All right, so then we're going to have to get into it. We're going to have to cut from our regularly scheduled program to bring you the Spinnerrack, but the Spinnerrack not the way you remembered it. Because we don't have our boy Mars here to keep us under wraps.
That's right.
So now we're going out.
This is what happens when you have to get a refrigerator.
When you got household things to take care of. So we decided, you know what? There's some comic book stuff going on. The sale of Marvel Comics #1 for an astronomical amount. But we decided, you know what? We want to throw our hat in the ring in the Colin Kaepernick thing. The whole controversy. We're going into it right now. We don't care.
That's right.
And we say, you know what? The NFL... Can we say the NFL was wrong in what they did in adjusting the waiver? Should we say that they're wrong, that they should have gave them the same waiver they would give like a rookie when they come into a practice and seeing how well you do, to say that there isn't any bad blood? We have to give you the exact same thing because equal rights.
No.
It's a business.
That's the reason why he's not playing, is because it's a business. Everybody seems to forget this. Okay? What I heard somebody told me that a veteran advised him that he should go take the knee on the field, and I'm like, well, that was poor advice. If you want this,
let's not get to the knee. Let's stay away from the knee, because that's going to be a tougher thing for us to argue out of why the whys and how.
Well, the whole idea is the NFL was never he was never going to play again. Okay, it had nothing to do with the NFL. It had to do that no team was going to touch him because he's just too toxic. For everybody who would have come, there would have been there would have been too much protest. I'm not doing it. I'm not buying that, and no team is going to want to deal with that. Okay, no, they don't. They would rather cut $10, $20, $30 million.
Yes.
Okay, rather than have to deal with that sort of notoriety. It was never going to happen. So the whole practice was, I can't even say if it was an olive branch or even a soft landing. It was just like, hey, okay, we're going to do this, and at the very least we can close the door that way. Cap was like, no. Okay, no. Are you trying to play me? It's like, yeah, they are. That's what this whole thing for is anyway. And I don't understand why you wanted to take the practice if you didn't want to play, because obviously you didn't want to play. So he does, and I mean, it was very well orchestrated. Anybody who was on his side was like, wow, he probably went. He had, everything was ready. So he, this was something that he had planned out.
Yeah.
He had planned out. But then again, for me, it's like, okay, so you didn't want to play. This was just, this was just like a media extravaganza for you. What am I supposed to take? What am I supposed to take from that? Okay.
Well, the issue has been that maybe the NFL hasn't been as fair in giving him the same things of any other prospect for the teams, and that the waiver that they wanted him to sign was a little more extreme. But the hard part is that there was litigation between these two. So of course they're gonna what happens if he trips, hurts himself? We're gonna get another suit. What if, and the teams can't even express interest anymore, because the hard part is that there was a period where the 49ers wanted him. He wanted to, go through free agency. There was some offers. He didn't like those offers. He stepped out of the 49ers, and the next we got this whole thing where he doesn't have a job, and we're fighting for him to get a job. Now, he's talked about being desperate, and then when you in desperation, there's less desperation at this point, because you see the waiver and he's like, you know what, I don't like this. Now in any sort of agreement, you can bring in and say, you know what, I would like this change. Can you guys change it and show that, hey, I have issue with it, and this happens in any sort of negotiation. But this has been sort of, let's maybe change the thing. I want my people, I want to talk, I'm not going to answer questions. And it's hard to say this because people would say, oh, you're telling him to play ball. But there's going to be some sort of compromise.
Yes, exactly that.
There's going to be some compromise that you have to do. And the waiver wasn't that extreme. You just have to look at it, and you can't just say that, oh, it's different than the other one. Well, they've been in litigation.
Yeah.
So once that happens, they're going to say, well, I don't trust this guy.
And you're not some rookie coming out of Alabama State.
Yes.
Okay, you're Colin Kaepernick. The entire country knows who you are, and not for your prowess at playing football. Yeah. So your situation is not going to be. It's so naive. and so disingenuous. You know, I feel for him as a professional athlete, for someone who's played for the NFL, to say, well, this isn't the same for some. You're not the same. Okay, you didn't get to this point. You didn't get to this point by having like this incredibly stellar career, and then no, you did certain actions that led you here, and then unfortunately you became too much part of a media circus, too much part of a woke culture, and now you're here where I don't even know if he. Let's say he and I'm not trying to read his mind, but let's say he genuinely wanted to play.
Yes.
Okay, I don't know if he could. Even if there was everybody was going to scale back. The people who wouldn't necessarily want him to play would say, look, you know what? Let's see how he plays. He plays well. Give him a chance. I don't think those people who supported him, would have been able to allow him to play, because what is the team doing? Is the team, with this? Is the team with that? It's a lot of stuff that you took upon yourself when you decided to make this part of your play, of your game, as opposed to doing this off field. Now, if you did this off field, totally different thing. And you'd have guys on field saying, no, that you did that off field.
Yes.
No problem. So for you to come into this now, and again, he had a plan. Okay, he had no intention of going through the dog and pony show that the NFL had probably set up. Yeah. And mind you, it was a dog and pony show. NFL was never going to put him back on the field. We understand. We understand that. Okay, that was just not going to happen. However, okay, he also was like, look, I have no intention of being on this field either, and I'm going to show you up one more time. And just a large waste of time at the end of the day on both sides, if you have to look at it.
The hard thing is putting himself out there as a player. You see people, and it's hard to even use, because it's easier because we're not closely involved in seeing these NFL deals and how people lose their opportunities, are less valuable, and any of that stuff. I would only go to an example of, say, an actor like what was it for? Well, the thing is, at some point you have to, if you want to get something, there's attrition that happens to players also. You can practice every morning, do everything you want, but the number of years you're out of the game takes you as rust. So then you're going to be less likely. And now you imagine the year before I think the year before the bad year he had, he went to the Super Bowl and he was one play away where it was they called the play instead of having him run the ball in, and they could have been Super Bowl champions, and it was taken away. And it'd be a totally different narrative right now. But we're dealing with what we have here. He's been out of the game. And you have to say, if you want to, that's the thing. If he put it to them, did what they wanted, the thing about the timing is if you're in shape, you're in shape. The timing is wrong. The time is always going to be wrong. When if you get called for an interview and they say, hey, we only need you on Monday. And you're like, well, you know what? That's on your terms. I need to be on my terms.
Monday doesn't work for me.
And you can. That's the thing is talking and being not going in and say you're going to change it how it goes. And sometimes if you're in high demand, you can set any rules you want. But now it's both people are been burned either side. Yeah. So you have to go in and be like, well, I'm going to have to give something up. And I'll give up my time. I'll do what they want. I'll show up. You got these many teams. That's a good show. I'll play this game a little bit. But the talking, not talking to the press, the Kunta Kinte shirt, a little extra.
Extra. Come on. At the end, look, and that type of stuff for me is over the top, especially if you know his backstory. It's just, it's like overcompensating for nothing at the end of the day. And again, he's not naive. He's not new in this. He's had endorsement deals. I remember when he had the Beats endorsement deal with the Aloe Black song that was playing, the man inside of it. That's one of the first times. That was like actually what introduced me to him. And saw him playing. Okay, so he knows how this works. Yeah. It wouldn't matter. To be honest, he could have had rust, and they might have still been able to get him on. Yes. You are too toxic for us to put you on any team. And then, for all the people who are like, hey, why can't he play? He should play. He doesn't play at your pleasure of the fans. Yeah. He plays at the pleasure of the team, the owners, the coaches. You have to have those people willing to play with him. If you've got a team and they're like, look, no, this is not going to work with him on the team. You got owners, no, I'm going to catch too much flack for this. A coach like, okay, I'm not sure if I can, work with this dude. It's too much. Okay, so it doesn't matter whatever your position was. You made it so that you are your eternal firebrand when it comes down to it. They can't put you on a team. There's no way to work you back in. Who was the other guy with the spousal abuse? Ray Rice?
Yes, Ray Rice, yeah.
Okay, where I don't think he was ever able to audition either.
Yeah.
Okay, and these guys wanted him back. Okay, teams wanted him back. Coach was like, yeah, we're willing to work with him. And the public sentiment was like, no, he can never play again. Okay, so opposite situation where it's not the NFL and the team and the coaches coming over and saying, no, we don't know about it. These guys were like, yeah, sure, let's find a way to get him back. And the public sentiment was no. Okay, this guy can never come back to play. Other guys, were in situations and they could come back, but he became too. The second he was going to be back on the team was going to be, oh, the hell, and this, that, and the other. He didn't pay for, so he's got to pay for this for the rest of his life. I hear he's doing okay though.
That's the thing. The thing is that having the Nike deal is keeping him. I mean, this is his job as being like a celebrity and making money that way. But at the same time, I think if I go to like Brett Favre, he's on Green Bay, and then he goes to the Vikings, and then his last season when he's in the playoffs and he gets open to just being like beat down by the defense. If you put Kaepernick in that situation and they say, well, why isn't his defense? What's wrong with it? Why aren't they defending? Why aren't they protecting them? His offense, why aren't they protecting them? And you be in a situation where will Kaepernick go to the internet saying, hey, like no one's protecting me. I'm out here on my own. And that happens to many a player, but that's what football is. If he makes him a single solo person on a team, as much as they try to like highlight players on football teams, at some point the offense has to get off the field. There's no way around it. You have to be a team, and you can't be someone that goes to the internet all the time. And that's the hardest part of being, I'm giving all this up. Like even T.O. Like T.O. has been one who was, he's now turned into the person who's talking with Kaepernick now, but he was in that same place where he got all this negativity, but at the same time when he got back to a team, he played alongside with Donovan McNabb, and he stayed within there until later after when he wasn't getting time, then he started to become a problem again. So it's hard to say once you're trying to get in there, you play fair. You get on there, you show them what you can do, and then move on. This is not to say you can take the stance at the same time, but you can't. You have to make some sort of deal, don't you?
I don't know.
You can take your stance and not play.
Look,
he can always. That's the thing. He can take the stance and not play, and that's fine.
I never played professional ball. Okay, I'm like intramural. Play for this. High school, that type of stuff. But, the rule, again, this is one of the first things that we learn. Keep your stuff off the field. Okay? Keep it off the field. We don't want to see anybody's girlfriend coming on the field talking about you cheating bastards. Like, what's this going on now? We don't want to hear about, I had a rough night, or, I was, your alcohol is like, no. We came to play, okay?
What
all
happened
that other
to you
stuff,
today?
All that other stuff is like, no. And then if you were the guy where, okay, we don't know what the hell is going on with you, eventually nobody wants to play with you. You're not baseball's different, but at the end of the, we're not going to come over here and just like, hey, we're going to let everybody hit everything, and we're going to look stupid. But in football, these guys will send you a message like, hey, do you want to get hit the entire game? Then you need to shut up.
Well, that's
okay. Do you want pass protection? Then you need to shut up. We're not playing. We're not doing this. We know how this game is played. So a lot of, just bringing it on the. And the thing is, anytime I hear about, this is what he would advise, I'm like, no. You're not Jim Brown, and this isn't the 1960s. Yes. Okay. And the thing is, it gets me. I know he's smarter than this. So if I were to talk with him, like, was this really where you were coming at? Because I know you weren't even playing at the time. Okay, you're riding the bench. I know you weren't playing because you let your afro get to the point you couldn't have put on a helmet, so you were never getting in there.
Now you had to go there.
Damn right.
He can braid it down. You can't braid
it down in the middle of a game.
They have people with dreads playing football. I don't even understand how that works.
There were no women on the field to assist him. Anyway. I don't know. I thought those guys did like custom. Don't those guys did like custom helmets or something good for the hair? Anyway,
maybe so.
No, but all jokes aside, you know, he's riding the bench.
Well, you can't be. That's the thing. As much as it sounds like, I guess it sounds like, hey, don't be a problem. This, that, and the other. Like,
don't be a problem.
The problem is
shut up.
Right now,
keep your stuff off the field.
You have to. That's the long and short of it. Is that there's going to be some compromise being made here. You're not going to go down being, you can't be a revolutionary at this point if you want to play. If you're that desperate, and at the same time,
desperate my ass. He's sitting on Nike money.
Well, that's the thing. He's not, so he can go have his own practice.
That
have
sweatshop
show up and say, "Hey, that's the other thing."
That sweatshop, human rights violation since the 1970s. Nike money.
Oh gosh, there's no way to beat.
And who does Nike? Who are these violations against? Who are these violations against? Come on, PD. Who are they against? People of color.
Yes.
Okay.
There you go.
So hey, anytime I hear these quotes, I'm kind of like, okay, I guess,
Yes.
Even
that's the thing. Even in I think it was First Take where they had Max Kellerman and Stephen A. Stephen A's taking a lot of heat when he also laid out the initial problems that Kaepernick had when he went into free agency early on. So everything is clear and on record. But now people go and they're like Max Kellerman, but Max Kellerman's going on there and he's saying, hey, I'm not giving up my white privilege. It's like, all right, this is not someone you ride with, T.O., like him going, all the stuff, Kuhn, throw that stuff out.
Yeah.
All we're dealing with is Kaepernick. They had a number of teams, even if it wasn't ingenuous that they wouldn't have picked him. Go in there, show your stuff. That's what it's about. Don't say I need another day, or if that, say, you know what, can we talk? We're gonna have lawyers here, but I need maybe give me another week. Is it possible? If not, then I'll do it. And that's easy. Just having a talk with them. Hey, I think I really want to be ready for this. And the next thing you know, they say no. Then say I'll do it. And that shows you, it's like, all right, he talked to us. We don't want to reschedule. He's at least agreeable, and this, that, and the other. So I'd like to meet the new team. I'd like to meet some people. That's not. It always sounds, because Monique has got us into this thing where we just keep saying we're playing ball and we're giving up all this stuff, but at the same time,
Monique.
Yeah, when she talks about she's the Kaepernick of the Hollywood. She goes into a meeting with a person, and the next thing she goes to social media and says, "Hey, they didn't give me a job. They hate me.
Yeah,
this, that, and the other."
But she's a great example if you want to follow jackassery. But it's look, I mean, most of us have day jobs, and we understand. Look, you can't do certain things. Yes. And maintain this job, okay? You know the boss is an idiot. You know the boss doesn't understand how to run the place, but the boss is still the boss, yes. And you have to learn how to manage the boss so you can get your work done. You got coworkers. It shouldn't be that much of an oddity to anybody. I don't know. I just felt that he, I felt that he wasn't getting the type of, he wasn't happy with his situation. And at some point, I feel that he made the decision he wasn't playing.
Yeah.
Okay? He wasn't going to play. And then, his mind is getting into other stuff. He might have paralleled his situation with how other black people have been treated in the past, the unfair treatment. He gets more into that, and then, hey, I'm not on the field, so what's the situation here? And then, of course, it snowballs, and it's very much out of his control, because one, you can't play, and then two, for the rest of your waking days, everyone expects you to be this socially conscious figure, which, to be honest, I don't believe that he acts. I mean, I'm not saying that he's being disingenuous about taking a knee or anything, but revolutionary, no. I don't believe that. I believe he's, one, he got thrust into a situation from his actions that happens to, can happen to anyone, can happen to a lot of people, depending, on time and circumstance. But for the rest of his life, he's like, no, people may regard him in that manner. But I think this is a guy who, look, he wanted to play ball, and then after play ball, who knows? He might have wanted to do some sports casting. He might have wanted to do some, bringing kids up in teams. But this,
Yeah.
Okay, especially since the way it's been handled. It's been so slapdash, and spit and baling wire at the end of the day. I just can't believe that this, was the eventual outcome that he was looking for towards himself, and that he had any plan. I think a lot of this he was just doing it, and then things just happened after that. With the exception of that tryout, that was very well planned and very well executed. If he had done that from the beginning, we would probably not be talking about him in this manner right here now.
Yeah. And it's not as if we don't want him to play. We understand how business works. Is that if you're a problem before you get to the office to the tryout, you're going to be a problem afterwards. And then you can go to many of the other things that come up in the NFL with even. It goes into so much stuff, but in the way things work, you're going to have to talk about, I think I always go to, who is it, Leonard Nimoy, when he's talking about working on Star Trek, and he was like, anytime he asked for something, they were like, no, we'll get someone else to wear the ears. And then at some points, they were coming to him for stuff. So when they were asking him to show up at this, he would have something to negotiate. So at that point, they still had issue, but at the same time, they wanted something out of him. And then that's the aspect of it, of playing ball. That's saying, hey, I'm here, I'm doing this, I show up every day, I'm doing my job well. And then next thing you ask for something extra, I say, hey, well, what about this? And then they're like, yeah, I think he'd asked for a phone so he could talk to his family. I think he had a bike. He was taking his bike back and forth, which I think William Shatner took his bike, would hide his bike all the time. So that's the thing.
Good stuff.
In business, there's going to be some sort of negotiation, and that's one thing he said he had to learn. He had to learn that, and you could see he was very shrewd in how, all right, I'm interested in the Star Trek movie, but hey,
I need a phone.
And at the same time, it's like, I don't know if I'm going to get a good part. I'm getting this thing where I'm mentally disabled in this thing. No, we can redo it. So that's, now that we know you're going to do it, of course we can redo it.
Exactly.
You show up for the night, they're like, oh, we didn't know this was going to happen. We thought it was going to be a circus, and you made it not a circus.
And that's proper negotiation. And the proper negotiation also understands that, okay, these guys are asking for this. I can probably get this for that, maybe a little bit more.
Yeah.
Okay, but not to go, okay, well, look, if you want me in this film, I want to be able to direct. I want to rewrite the whole thing.
Yes, that's
okay.
That's what we're.
I need a role for my wife. I'm going to go for everything because I am Spock. At the end of the day, they'll say, you know what, Spock is dead. And the people, the fans will be like, well, why? Because we can't work with you.
Yeah.
Okay, and it's as simple as Mr. Rogers. Cooperation and working together.
Well, that's the thing in his book. He was saying when he asked for the third, they said, hey, we want you back, and he said, well, I want to direct. The cast wasn't really with it. And then he met with all of them saying, hey, we're interested. I'm interested in you. I want you guys to do stuff. I don't want you guys to have any problem with this. This is what I'm thinking about with your character. What are you thinking about for your character? And this is a part of the whole, it just sucks that it's saying this is a game, because ultimately it's private business. And at some point you have to decide, what are you going to give to get what you want?
Well, don't think of it as a game so much. This is the protocol.
Yeah, okay. There we go.
This is the protocol.
It's going to be like, you got a game. It's a game. You want to listen to, coon, all that other nonsense.
It's the protocol, and what I've found in life is that many people who can't abide by the protocol or use the protocol to their advantage or understand it, or they don't like, then of course you want to throw it out and do something that's amenable to you. That's not going to happen because there's already a protocol in place. And if you don't like it, you can, it's a simple answer. It's not easy, okay, but you have to find something for yourself where you're going to be able to effectuate results that are to your liking. Other than that, it's just a lot of moaning and a lot of bitterness at the end of the day. But hey, I'm looking forward to what Cap does next. Yes. And I am being really sarcastic when I just feel it's such a waste of time, such a waste of talent. At the end of the day, I just felt he could have done. I think this guy literally had at least one or two more Super Bowl runs in him.
Yes.
If he had got there, I honestly believe he would have won because he had the experience from the other one.
He just
needed to be on a team where he was able to get some light, and it's just about being patient.
Because it was so close. It was so close.
You saw that last Peyton Manning's last Super Bowl?
Yes,
he did nothing in that Super Bowl. He did nothing. He was literally.
He couldn't move.
He was taking the snap. He was taking the snap. He didn't throw one. He didn't throw one great pass. I mean, literally, walked it up and down. But he won. But they won the Super Bowl. It was probably one of the most phlegmatic performances I have ever seen in terms of quarterbacking. But he got his, he got the Super Bowl ring, and everybody's like, "Hey, it was a great job, Manning did." Yeah, he stayed on his feet.
Well, that was one of the more defense. Like the Ravens win was the earlier one was a defensive one, and that Colts was like the most defensive Super Bowl ever. It was just like
these guys. They were like, okay, they were like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. And they did that play the entire game. The other guys, I was like, do you guys not get it?
Yes, yeah.
I was like, do you guys not get it? I guess somebody doesn't get it.
Yeah.
I could have seen Cap in the same situation where, like, okay, you might be a Dan Marino, but you only need one.
Yes, he was and he was close. He was so close.
One, and you could. He struck me as a guy of that type of caliber rather, but I think at some point he just made the mental and spiritual decision that he was not going to play.
Yeah.
That he was, and
or that even as a backup, that there wouldn't be another shot, and that's the hard thing. And you turn into Allen Iverson when you're saying, "Hey, I need the number one spot," and it's like it's not going to be like that. They're gonna.
No, it isn't Georgetown.
Yeah, they push. That's the thing. Brett Favre didn't want to go. He had one okay year in the Vikings, and the next thing they crushed him. So it's like it's gonna shift. At some point you're gonna be the top guy, and at some point you're not gonna be. So we did as much as we can. I think we solved it. I think we solved it for everybody. So you don't have to go any further. Just come here and watch our other shows. Also like, subscribe, click the bell, click that bell, because make sure you see us all the time, and then you can decide whether you want to watch or not. Not allowing YouTube to
What do you mean, decide? Watch! We're here for you. We're bringing the real.
Yes.
Okay, this is ground zero. Prime Spinnerrack.
Yes.
Because once we blow up, we can't talk like this anymore.
That's right.
Because then it's about the money. But right now, we can give it to you honestly.
All you'll get to do is to see how it looks on our faces while we're saying, like, we're slowly, the mouth isn't moving, but a lot of stuff is coming out that you didn't expect from us.
That's right. We have no intention of selling out unless the price is really good.
Hey, it's happened to better men before us. Spinnerrack out.